Welcome to Hashtime with Navguzi Chwanuka. This is a place where we help you unravel social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health, emotional well-being, and everything in between that directly or indirectly affects us in the millennial world around us. If you're hearing my voice for the first time and are the kind of person who is not scared of being a better version of yourself even if it requires you to contradict who you were 24 hours ago, consider this your virtual home. I'm your host, Navguzi Chwanuka, and I cannot wait to engage with you in the various conversations. Hello, listener. We are back for the session that I promised you with Che. We promised you. Let me not exclude her. And this was from a follow-up episode that highlighted the questions that a listener shared that he wanted her to answer. So, Che, we are here for the main reason why you felt like it was important for you to return on the podcast.
Right.
I'm more than honored. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, people can return like this.
Oh, wow.
Like they're offering, I'm not looking.
Wow. Really?
So if you've not listened to the previous episode, you need to jump into it and understand where we're coming from with this. So this was question number 8. Has she struggled with relapses in any way?
That's a very, very good question.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to explain what relapse is.
Yeah.
Relapse is not something that happens in an instant. Yeah, it's a process. It usually happens during periods of withdrawal. Withdrawal is when somebody is not subjected to a substance or an activity, a compulsive substance or activity for a reasonable period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so relapse happens after this period of abstinence. They are triggered into jumping back into using the substance or engaging in the activity.
Yeah.
And so relapse doesn't just happen. You have to get a feeling that triggers a thought that triggers you to take the action. So that's what relapse is. And so I did go through relapse. I did go through triggers. Triggers are basically things that make you want to drink, make you want to smoke, make you want to do whatever it is. They can be external triggers, they can be internal triggers. Internal triggers are things like emotion. Maybe you're watching a series and then you see someone who looks like someone who hurt you. you know, it might be external triggers. You might be walking somewhere and then you pass somebody with a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make you want to feel like smoking. And then your mind tells you, what's the harm in getting a cigarette? You know what? Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And so I did go through relapse, but because of the situation that I was in, I was not able to follow through with it into drinking or smoking because one, it was lockdown. And the place where I was living in Chaliwadjala, I think the beer trucks and the alcohol, even the sachet companies were not reaching in that village where I was staying. It was called Chirunda Mbata. Some place in Chaliwadjala. Don't laugh at Chirunda Mbata. It's a very nice place. Okay. So, however much I had a mental battle going on, I really wanted to drink and smoke because one, I was sober. So I was thinking through my life clearly. Clarity had become chaos. I needed to drink, I needed to smoke, but I couldn't. But that was relapse. That was what they call post-acute withdrawal. I really wanted to drink so much. So what I would do in that time is I would just cry. I would cry myself to sleep. Then I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm having lucid dreams. I start crying again. I had a scar on my right leg. I would pick at the scar because there was mental pain and I wanted to drown it out with physical pain.
Yeah.
But regardless of what was happening, I was not following through with taking the substance or drinking alcohol or smoking. However, it still was relapse. I was experiencing relapse. But with a prolonged period of being able to go through the triggers and going through the acute withdrawal symptoms, in about a week or so, I was able to build a kind of mental resilience to know that, to just get accustomed to what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
In about 2 or 3 weeks, I was able to go maybe 12 hours without thinking of drinking. That was a start for me. So it took me about 3 weeks to go a certain period of time without thinking about drinking. that even if there was a trigger, even if maybe I was going through my phone and I saw the contact dad, I wasn't triggered by condemnation, no guilt to go drink.
Yeah.
It took about 3 weeks for that to happen. But for me to be fully recovered, to be fully free of any kind of, trigger sensation, it took me about, totally free, it took me about 3-4 months. I remember one day, the day that I actually realized, maybe it even happened earlier, but I didn't realize it. But I remember after about 4 months, 5 months, I was in my house and then some guy passed by my house and he was smoking a cigarette. And I inhaled that smoke and I didn't desire to smoke. Should have seen the dance I did in my room.
Victory.
It was real Magisu from Bali. I said, this is it. I said, God, you are the one.
Yeah.
I said, it can only be you. Because cigarettes are one thing that I had tried. People think that alcoholics or people who are dealing with addiction enjoy and love what they're doing. No, they know that what they're doing is wrong, but unfortunately, they've come to a point where it's not easy for them to let go of what's holding them.
Yeah.
And so at that point, they actually do know that what they're doing is not beneficial to them. And for me as a person, my goodness, I'll never stop saying this. I'll never ever stop saying this. It was literally God who forced me in that situation.
Yeah.
I thank God for the lockdown because LDUs would have beaten me on the streets because I didn't know where I was going to be.
The streets were supposed to be free.
Where was I going to be?
I've just remembered.
This happened. I was able to get that place or the situation or the circumstances that led to me staying in that place. It was just a month to the lockdown. Where was I going to be? Bars were closed.
Yeah.
The streets, if they found you on the streets, you were thrown in jail. I don't even know if some people made it out of the police stations that they were thrown in. And so I'll constantly keep saying all those events were orchestrated by God. And that was my rehabilitation with God. And I'm very, very grateful for it. But concerning the relapses, I just hope whoever is listening to this, even if you relapse, it's not a sin. We are not perfect. Freedom is a journey. It's one step at a time. It depends on first of all, the amount of time a person has used a substance or someone has drunk or someone has smoked. I had a story of a guy who relapsed after 27 years.
I think you told me. You told me about that part and I was like, ouch.
So it's painful because, you can actually think that, what, I'm free. I'm finally free. Until a situation presents itself and reveals to you something that has been hidden that you did not confront. You can think that you've dealt with everything, which is why in my rehabilitation time, I gave everything to God. And that's why I wrote Woman Fire Break. I wrote down everything because I said I'm not going to leave out a single thing from my back. I said, God, what you need to deal with it now. I don't want it to deal with me when I'm 50 years old. When I'm now MP of somewhere, I'm like president of Deloitte. You're way up there, and then some nonsense happens, and they say you are running in places drunk and naked at 50. No. So it's good to allow yourself to have the inner work dealt with now, however much it takes, however long it takes. For some people, it takes 3 days. For some people, it takes a week. For some people, it takes a year.
I was actually going to ask you for the time because it felt like 3 weeks was so fast to undo all those years.
Yeah, but you see, this relapses happen with withdrawal. Like when you fully have stopped taking alcohol. Before I was still taking alcohol because there was some stock left in the shop.
Yeah.
But now after about 2-3 months, 4 months of the lockdown, it was now scarce to find alcohol. It was scarce to find cigarettes. Also, I was broke. I was poor. I couldn't afford. So I think even at some point they restocked, but I couldn't afford. So I would just be in the house. And it was just there where I was crying, dealing with everything I had to deal with, the condemnation, the guilt, making amends with myself, with those around me, those in my life. And all this was just building for me to not be able to relapse. Because one of the main causes of relapse is a stressful situation arises and people do not have the emotional capacity, the mental capacity to deal with it, which is why it's very good to build a healthy perspective of pain. That when something stressful or like a trigger comes, something that you don't like comes, don't feed it. Yeah. Our generation, one, doesn't know how to be bored.
Yeah.
Our generation doesn't know how to be hurt.
To be with self.
We don't know how to be alone.
Yeah.
We confuse being alone with being lonely. That's why we can't put our phones down.
That part. See, last night.
That's why we can't. We don't know how to do the boring stuff. We don't know how to be bored.
This guy, what's his name? I have forgotten his name. He's British Nigerian, and he was speaking to Gabor Mate. You know him, and he said that he has noticed that he doesn't know how to be alone. That even when he's going to the toilet, he is carrying his phone. He's not going to use it, but he's scared.
That's true.
I'm going to be alone. How about I carry it?
Yeah, we've been socially conditioned to be connected to something all the time. I remember I was reading an article some time back, and somebody actually said the new drug dealers are not selling tobacco and alcohol. They're the social media companies. Those are the new drug lords in our day and age. They're selling dopamine. Yeah. We don't know how to be alone. We don't know how to be disconnected. I don't know. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus as my Lord and Savior. So I am required to fast.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, fasting is difficult. Fasting is literally...
It is.
You put aside...
It is.
You put aside scrolling and you open that Bible and read it. The Bible that bores you every day, read it. You will see how the flesh will shout.
Yeah.
We don't know how to be bored. We want to be connected all the time. We're looking for dopamine. So in this day and age, when I see somebody who is an internet addict judging an alcoholic, I'm like, friend, there's no difference.
No difference. It's all addiction.
Difference. It's the same drug, just different substance, the different vehicle, same thing. So we need to allow ourselves. Dopamine detoxes are very important. Dopamine detoxes. Put your phone away for 24 hours. Get a book. Go and walk. Even music. Sing to yourself for a day. For one day, you get songs you like and you sing them to yourself. Switch off the phone. You're looking for time, buy a wall clock, buy a watch. Dopamine detoxes are very important. Because as a generation, we need to learn how to be human. Any slight boredom is regarded as stress. Because now we are so used to dopamine being triggered from the phone, from being, it's actually called being overstimulated. Our minds are overstimulated. And so any kind of depression, it might not even be acute depression. It's just you're bored. We don't know how to be sad. There's a difference between sadness and depression.
Yeah.
You're going to have a bad day. Bad days are going to come.
Yeah.
You're going to get rejection letters in the email. You're not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
Some days it's going to rain. You're going to wake up, the sun is not shining. You're going to miss something. It's okay. It's not going to rain forever. It's okay to allow yourself to be sad. Allow yourself to be bored. Once in a while. You understand? So we need to learn how to regulate and manage our emotions. Sometimes we diagnose ourselves with, I was depressed. No, you are sad. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Someone said something bad on social media and then now you go and cover yourself for 2 weeks. I'm stressed. The world, be sad and then move on with life. Yeah.
You have talked about that part of overstimulation. And the first time I heard it was from a mother who shares her life on social media. And so they have a toddler with them, but she was barely speaking. And they thought that she had a hearing problem, or some of the people in the comment section were telling her that your child might be autistic, nonverbal.
Yeah.
So they took the child to get examined, blah, blah, blah. And the doctor told them that the child is overstimulated. And I was like, wait, what? What? I had never heard of that. I think that must have been in March or somewhere around that time. So what they told them to do is to cut down on the TV. Actually, to just switch it off and start interacting with her, human on human. Because they used to share live videos with Coco Melon going on and she's in a playpen and I was like, oh my God. And then it reminded me of a person that I know. Her first child was only friends with TV. She had no social skills, nothing. If she switched off the TV, she is angry. She cannot deal with anyone. She doesn't want to talk to anyone. She's just silent.
And you can't blame the kid because the kid has been conditioned to be that way. And when such children grow up, when they're teenagers with hormones and with attitudes and opinions,
it's worse.
It won't be pretty.
What helped this kid to snap out of that was the second child. Because this one came out differently. She just wants to be with people. She's pulling her out. Can we go outside? Yeah. And then we just love this baby girl. She's giving us stories. She comes up with stories and we laugh. And then before we know it, this one comes in, but she doesn't even know how to talk to you. Like, in the end, she came out of it. She snapped out of it. She joined school. She learned how to interact with every other person. And then my question was, do adults actually get overstimulated? And the answer was there.
For us, it's even worse.
The answer was just there. I was like, oh my God, social media. Oh my God, workspaces.
It's not even, listen.
And I watched a mother talking about how her kids overstimulate her. She went for a break. She was out there living her life and she was like, no one is mumming me right now. No one is calling me. I'm just at peace.
Listen, this is something that we can talk about forever because my next podcast episode for Mental Health Awareness Month is about this. I'm sorry for laughing, but I really wish people could take this serious because can I tell you, we people who we are the technology generation, our children are going to be very bad adults.
Yeah.
Because one, we've made ourselves too busy to teach our children any kind of social skills, to build any kind of cognitive skills in them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one, life is a two-way street, right? You're either consuming or you're producing.
Right.
And you know, the funny thing about creative is you're a creative, I'm a creative. Listen, this whole thing of look for inspiration. It's good to be inspired, but do not be consumed by looking for inspiration because you will scroll and scrolling actually dampens our creativity.
Yeah.
It overstimulates us so much that we are unable to produce. All we can do is consume. It's the same thing with a human being. If you put a child, this generation that we are securing the bag. Listen, you've decided to be a parent. A child is a responsibility.
Yeah.
You're so lazy, you've given them a tab or you've put and now YouTube came. Jesus. Smart TV. Just put the TV, the crib, and let the kid be in front. The kid is constantly consuming and has no outlet. Like there is nowhere the child is going to speak what the child has learned, what the child watching, you know. So all they're doing is absorbing. There's something called complex trauma. Mm-hmm. Complex trauma is when it happens in childhood, and these are things that happen to people in childhood and they manifest when they're older. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Whoever is listening to this and you have a child, force your child to speak to you. By force, have a conversation with them. Even if they speak gibberish back, make it a routine.
Yeah. Just
so they can get used to interaction. And not just speaking, like putting them in front of TVs and in front of phones and tablets and all this. Overstimulation is a very huge problem in our day and age. Mm-hmm. And it's even worse for us adults because the overstimulation is now fortifying what our subconscious mind has that we have grown up with. Now you're at your big age at 30 with all your experience.
Yeah.
You've been homeless, they've beaten you, people have hit on you, you've done this and this, and you haven't received any kind of like therapy or any kind of help to deal with that. And now you're coming to overstimulate yourself with more opinions on the internet, with different lifestyles on the internet, with different things. A person like that is not going to be okay mentally. Mm-hmm. And it's going to show up either in their family or in their home space, either in their work or in their school. It's just the way it is. Yeah. Overstimulation is something we need to talk about.
Yeah, we
Dopamine detox.
I had put some notes aside about overstimulation. Like, I was in shock, like, hey.
No, it's a real thing. And I wish people knew. Yeah. It actually happens to me.
It happened to me this year. You remember when I told you that I stepped away?
Yes.
I pulled back, and ever since then, I don't know if I'm scared of coming back. Like, this year has been so much. And now, when I took that week off, I was like, I don't want to go back there.
Right. No, I know what you mean. The virtual world it's a world of its own, you know, and you can get sucked into it if you're not careful. And it's good to have that discernment, especially as someone who, for some people, they can't run from it. Their livelihood is the internet. They get their information, spiritual nourishment from it, you know. But you need to also have some boundaries, There's boundaries that you have to create. Just look at dopamine detox. If it's 2 days, 3 days, 7, do it for your mental faculties, please.
Right.
We don't want an overstimulated generation. Yeah.
So we are going back to what brought us.
Yes.
How does someone know that they have indeed healed from an addiction?
How do you know? Well, this comes down to it's self-reflection, really, because there's really no one cause of addiction. And so there's really no one marker to know whether someone has healed from addiction, except from them.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example as a sobriety coach. When I'm doing a consultation call, I'll ask a client, what are the biggest challenges that you're dealing with in your sobriety journey that you wish to conquer? Then I ask them, what are the goals that you wish to see or that you wish to achieve? So the person will let you know what their biggest struggles are. For example, someone can tell you, my biggest challenge is I'm going to work late, I keep losing jobs, I can't pay my rent, things like that.
Yeah.
Another person can tell you, I have strain with family, things like that. You know, people have different ways that addiction is affecting their lives, the different aspects of their lives. And so it comes down to up to the person. Yeah. For me, how I knew that I was totally healed is I could go a day without feeling like drinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because for me what it was is as soon as the thought to drink comes, I don't care where I am, I have to find a drink. It didn't matter whether I got a sachet the size of, you know, if I needed a drink, I needed it. And so the fact that the thought could come and I didn't desire that, for me, that is how I knew I was well onto the path of healing.
Because now we're looking at someone that you talked about after all the 27 years. What are the chances that they might have felt like they had conquered it and, you know, they were going days and years and decades without a want of taking the alcohol, and then 27 years after 2 decades and 7 years, you just slip back into the hole.
My goodness. You see, the thing about this life is, one, it's unpredictable.
Right.
And so it's good to be very brutally honest with yourself, especially if you're someone who has dealt with such issues like addiction. It's good to be aware of your weaknesses. I'm not careless enough to stand up now and say, Che, I'm a bad girl, let me go and sit in a bar. I haven't drunk in 3 years, let me go sit in a bar. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like what kind of, who do you think you are? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
you are unbloggable.
So, you know, it's just a brutal assessment of your life. You know, it's just being brutally honest with yourself. Right now, I'll be honest, I have gone to bars to meet people, to see people, not to sit and chill, but, you know, to go meet someone or do something. But when I walk into these places, I do not have a desire to even stay there. I don't have a desire to sit down and indulge or whatever. Do I judge the people who do that? No. But this is all because of a certain work that I have done in myself. However, it doesn't take away self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
It doesn't take away self-awareness. A lot of people believe that, especially when you've gone to like places like rehab, yeah? People believe that when they have a family member who is a loved one who's dealing with addiction and what, they bundle them up and then they throw them in a rehab. You know, it's like a microwave where you throw in popcorn, you put 3 minutes, come out. You think you're going to put someone in a rehab for 3 months, 6 months, and they're going to come out brand new, you know? And then they've been in this controlled environment, no drugs, no alcohol. They're away from environments and people and places that, you know, can tempt them into drinking. And then when they come back into the real world, they're unable to deal with the temptations that come with that. So there has to be an inner work that you do in yourself. It might not take a day. It might not take a year. It can take 27 years.
Yeah.
You might have conquered everything else, but maybe there's just that one part of yourself that you haven't confronted or that you haven't surrendered, you know, to be aware of it. And so what I can say is allow the healing journey to do the perfect work in you. That was one thing about me in my healing journey. As I was writing Woman Fire Grace, whenever I came to certain parts when I was writing about my childhood, my high school, and there are some parts, there are some memories that came to me which I didn't even write in the book, but I cried. But what was this? This was awareness. I was acknowledging that, there is this brokenness, there is this fragment. Okay, maybe this was masking itself somewhere. This hurt I dealt with it. And so I surrendered my life to God. I told him, God, there's 15 years. I've drunk. I've done everything. I've drunk. I've stopped drinking. I came back drinking 5 times more. I stopped drinking. I came back drinking 10 times more. I almost died. I said, God, deal with whatever it is you need to deal with.
Yeah.
And so I surrendered all those things to God. I dealt with them. I prayed about them. I read the word about them. What does God say about that? What does God say about condemnation? How am I supposed to live with certain guilt and certain shame from certain experiences, without hating myself? All this comes from self-awareness. Do the required work that you need to do. At the end of the day, it's not in your own power anyway.
Yeah.
It's not in your own power. This is why surrender is very important, especially if you're somebody who wants to be free of something. You have to be free from something. You have to be delivered into something else. If you're going to be freed from one yoke, you have to surrender yourself to another yoke. And for me, I gladly and I'm unashamedly say I surrendered myself to the yoke that is God.
Yeah.
By developing a relationship with Jesus. Otherwise, there would be no church to be speaking today. I was well onto the path of death. I had survived death, I think, 3 times in the space of like 7 months in 2019. If that lockdown had not happened, there would be no church. I was well onto the path of death like this. So it was in that I surrendered my weaknesses. I knew my weaknesses. I said, God, alcohol is here, nicotine is here. Those were just the symptoms. They fell off. But even with the bottle and the cigarettes not there, I was still crying and I was still broken. I said, whatever this is, Lord, reveal it. And as I began to write Woman Fire Grace, I started to understand where condemnation, shame, all these things were coming from. And I started to, just to make peace with them. Just to make peace with those things, confront them in whatever way they needed to be confronted in a healthy way, of course.
Yeah.
Sometimes we confront things in unhealthy ways, beating ourselves up, accusing other people, self-harming and all that. So do the work that needs to be done, however long it takes. It's your journey. It's not for anybody else. There's no race. It's not over until God says it's over. Let him do the good work that he needs to do it.
Yeah. And now I wanted to ask you, because now I'm seeing you as a coach.
Yeah.
And you give credit to God for helping you out, saving you from this kind of lifestyle. What happens for someone who is going to come to you for help and they do not believe in God? Or are you specifically working with people that are Christian? People that have a background of Christianity?
No. Because addiction doesn't have a preference. It doesn't care who you believe in or what you believe in. It has never cared. Whether you think God is a stone, addiction is going to find you. Do you understand? There's something called the 12-step program. I don't know if you've heard about it. The 12-step program is a very popular treatment program for Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and also other treatment programs to deal with compulsive disorders. There's Debtors Anonymous.
Yeah.
Nice. There's but the 12-step program helps them. And what the 12-step program is, it's a list of 12 steps that's supposed to help people of mental bondage that is holding them.
Yeah.
And the 12-step program has been used since the year 1968, I believe. Since the founder, he's actually a person who started Alcoholics Anonymous. And what those 12 steps do is they subject you to surrendering to a higher power. Every Alcoholics Anonymous in the world works with the 12-step program. The origin of the 12-step program is submit yourself to a higher power, and it instructs you as somebody who's guiding someone in the 12 steps to allow someone experience God as they know him.
As they know him.
As they know him. So if you meet a Hindu, for them they know God in a certain way.
Yeah, a Muslim.
If you're a Muslim, they know God in a certain way. If you are, I don't know, if you believe in a stone, you know God in a certain way. No, I'm telling you, people,
I know.
People believe in all kinds of things.
Yeah.
A person will tell you, me, God is the river in my village. And that's who they are. That's what they know. That's really how you deal with them. However, I'm a Christian.
Yes.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop me from sharing with whoever I have come or whoever has come to me about my experience.
Your experience.
Because I did not get free by the river in your village.
Right.
I got free by surrendering to God. And you have come to me looking for a solution of how you can start your journey of freedom. you have not gotten free from your stone. You haven't gotten free from your river. So if you come to me, I'm going to tell you how I did this and this and this and this. Of course, I'm still going to take you through the 12-step program. However, my role as a coach, this is what coaches do. Coaches are supposed to use their experience to be able to guide, encourage, and mentor their clients. Coaches are non-clinical. They don't offer any clinical help.
Yeah.
We are literally coaches. It's like a coach of a sports team. They come and tell you, you're the best. Go do it. That's what we do. We guide and we mentor where necessary. But it's to guide, encourage, hold hands, support in your sobriety journey. I'm a Christian. Before I'm a life coach, I'm a Christian. Before I'm a sobriety coach, before I'm an author, before I'm a speaker, before I'm an addiction awareness activist, I'm a Christian.
Right.
And so if somebody asks me, so how did you deal with the cravings? How did you deal with the triggers? I'm going to share with you how I dealt with it using prayer, using meditation, and using reading the word.
Yeah.
I've collaborated with a number of rehabilitation centers that actually incorporate the 12-step program, and they have told me, the counselors that work there, they have actually told me that many people come from different religious backgrounds and they enroll in the rehab centers, but by the time they are leaving, even when they're still there, in like their 4th, 5th week, after going through the 12-step program, they don't force you, they don't convict you and tell you must believe in God. No, they deal with you with God as you understand Him. But after using the 12-step program, in about the 4th, 5th week, they come to the counselors or to the head office and they say, I would like to send for a Bible from home. You understand? At the end of the day, for me, it's about sharing my faith because it's my faith that got me free. I'm not going to stand and lie to anybody. At me, I went into a rehab and they put me there I paid $10,000 for 3 months. No. It was an active walk of prayer. It was a very intentional walk. Prayer, surrendering to God, reading the word of God, and also taking personal inventory of my life. Where are the gaps? Where are the gaps? How can I get better? What is my vision for my life? Do I still want to live this kind of life? And one very important question that I ask my clients, people come to you and they're telling you, but my life is this and my life is this. You can't force anyone. It's the onus is up to you. And so I leave them with one question and I tell them, when you have the answer to that question, come back to me. And that question is, how fed up are you? After that, I switch off the call. You'll send me an email of when you want to schedule your next call.
Wow.
Yeah. How fed up are you? Because I had to get fed up. It took me 15 years of not being fed up. 15 years of coddling my insecurities. 15 years of being lenient to what was not lenient to me. How fed up are you? You need to get fed up until you're fed up of being fed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just it. How fed up are you? And on our next call, I tell them, get a piece of paper, get a pen, write how fed up are you, put it on your bathroom mirror or your fridge. Yeah.
Remind yourself all the time.
How fed up are you? It's a very effective tool, that one. I don't even have to do much. Yeah, half my work is done after we get to that point.
So for someone that wants to get in touch with you, if they know someone who is struggling or they are struggling themselves, how do they get in touch with you? I think that's something we did not do in your episode. Meanwhile, you guys, if you do not know the history of my relationship with Che, go to episode 99. Please go in order. We did not air that out. I'm saying this at the end, it should have come first. But yes, you can also go call Kalito behind and find out what happened in episode 99. Also look for her book. Meanwhile, Facebook, I had to share that screenshot with you. These algorithms. So they notified me, Ati, this comment has been taken down because it is against our community standards. So I checked the comment, and it's the comment where I was telling someone where to find your book. Woman Fire Grace. And they're like, this is against our standards. I'm like, you guys, it's a title
it's
of
because
a book.
Of the link.
No, it's not the link. It's not the link because I already shared the links. Probably it is the name of the book, Woman Fire Grace. I'm like, seriously, you guys.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
So let us know how we can get in touch with you in case we need your services. And yeah.
Oh, okay. If you would like to reach me, you can send me an email at parksobriety sparksobrie@gmail.com. That's sparksobrie@gmail.com. That is if you would like to reach me on sobriety coaching or to book your free sobriety coaching consultation. If you would like to get a copy of my book, go ahead and check Amazon, or you can check out Mahiri Books or Nuria Store in Kenya, Mahiri Books in Uganda.
There was a time when I think Mahiri said they were out of stock. Is that so?
Yes, it's for restocking.
Okay. So why are you directing people where there is scarcity?
My printer is on. Or for him, Labor Day starts in Feb. I don't know, but but you can follow me on social media as well. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Rebecca Kisakye Makyeli. On Twitter, @Che Makyeli, @KYEMAKYELI, and Instagram @Che.Makyeli. Yeah, that's the only account. Any other account you see, the account that doesn't have the dot was hacked in November 2021. So you'll be talking to some Nigerian chilling in Greece, not me.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. It's always fun. Yeah.
I appreciate the feedback.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Hashtag with Nabgozi Chiwanuka. If you loved what you heard, make sure you subscribe to Hashtag with Nabgozi Chiwanuka in your podcast platform of choice and share it with your friends, loved ones, and everyone that you believe is affected by the millennial world around us. Also, feel free to share your insights about what connected with you on social media and be sure to tag us. We are at Hashtag with Nabgozi Chiwanuka on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter, our handle is at HTNK Podcast. You can also use the hashtag HTNK in session. Catch you next week. Remember, we have the new segment coming out every Monday, Unraveling Life with Jagero, and then there is a new episode coming up on next Wednesday. Ciao.